Duane Duggan, Remax Boulder video podcast. Today we have our monthly market update with DB Wilson. DB, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Duane.
You bet. DB manages our Remax Boulder office here, takes care of over 100 agents, and because he takes care of all this stuff, he knows so much about the market, gets all the immediate feedback from all the agents. But what we're here to talk about today is the stats. Today we're going to talk about the stats for the end of February for attached dwellings and single families. So our question has been, how's the market going to be this year compared to last year? DB, we're a couple months into it. Want to talk about attached dwellings first?
You bet.
Okay.
So as you know, Duane, we look at 10 different areas of the market, and because you just look at one thing and you can get thrown off.
Right.
And those 10 things are: how many active listings are there? What's the median sales price? What's the average sales price? What's the sales price to list price? In other words, what's the listings selling for? What are the days on the market? How many sales have there been? How many expireds? How many properties actually never sold? And the percentage under contract, how many months of inventory there are, and then finally we look at interest rates.
Right. Wow, you can rattle those off pretty good. I'm impressed.
And what we do is we compare this year's, as you said, at the end of February with last year's, okay, to get a sense of where the direction that we're going. We do that both for single family and attached dwelling. It's okay with you? We'll start with attached dwelling.
Let's start with attached.
Okay. We've had an unbelievably low amount of inventory for several years, and we're actually starting to see active listings rise, which is really a good thing. And as a matter of fact, it's up 68%, but that's still only 175 listings in all of Boulder County.
Wow.
And of those 175 listings, 58% are under contract. So we're up about 68% over where we were a year ago, which was an all-time low. But even with all the ones that we now have on the market, they're being absorbed quickly because there's just so much demand.
Right.
Along those lines, we look at the median price. The median price at the end of February was $365,500. That's up about 13%, maybe a little under 13%. Average sales price is a little over $412,200, and that's up 18% over a year ago.
Okay.
So still a lot of push on that. We expect that to maybe slow a little bit because we are seeing more inventory come on. But one of the other things that is of interest is that all the new building that's going on for townhouses are at price points significantly higher than that average or median. So I think overall it's going to continue to rise.
Right. Not much choice.
Yeah, we're still seeing 99.8% sales price to list price, which is an extremely strong market. It's demonstrating that. Days on the market is roughly about where it was a year ago at 66 days on the market. That's up a little bit from a couple of years ago. Just because we have seen some new construction, we tend to put those into the MLS a little earlier, and so they're on the market longer before they close. So that timeline is date of listing to date of closing.
Okay.
There was one expired listing in the first 2 months, which is exactly what we had a year ago. Again, that shows just the strength of the market. Currently there's inventory of 2.9 months. That's up slightly. It's up 1 month from where we were a year ago. But for a stable market, you're thinking 5 to 7 months of inventory. Anything less than 5 is an extremely strong seller's market. So less than 3 months is really demonstrating it. The one thing that is significantly different is the interest rate. We're up just below 4.2% as of the end of February. That's up 0.5% over a year ago. That will have some long-term effects, we believe, in that it will take some people out of the market that just won't be able to afford it.
Especially in the condo market where it tends to be entry level for the most part, but not always. But
exactly. Well, and of course condos, as you know, we're struggling with because of the construction defect law that we have in place. So really the attached dwelling that we're seeing being built are townhomes. They're not condos.
Gotcha.
And it would be wonderful if we could get some condos.
Just a little bit tight all the way around.
It is. And as you know, the Our unemployment rate in Boulder County now is 2.2%. We've got a lot of in-migration going on. We've got a lot of household formation going on. Without that kind of building, there's just no way to relieve this upward pressure on prices.
It's going to be tight. Ready to dive into single family
You
report?
bet. You bet. So single family is, again, I would say it's more of the same with last year. Unfortunately, we have even less inventory than a year ago. We're off about 6%. In all of Boulder County, there's 534 homes for sale, of which 48% are under contract. So again, effectively you've got 270 maybe homes that are available at this point. The average sales price is up about 9%. We're just under $650,000 now as an average for all of Boulder
That's
County.
the county,
Yeah.
not the city.
Yeah.
Boulder.
And the median price is $540,000. So, I think that really gives you the sense of the lack of affordability that we have. First-time buyers, it would be wonderful if they had a condo to get going with. But that being said, sales price to list price is still a little over 98%, 98.2. Typically, what we see is 95 to 97%, so that's still demonstrating a strong market. Number of sales is down just ever so slightly, 10 units from where we were a year ago, and I think that is solely due to the lack of inventory.
Yep, just nothing to look at.
Right.
Right.
So the months of inventory for single family is 3.5. One interesting thing that we have seen is that sales price to list price is off about 1% from where we were a year ago, which is maybe the higher end stuff is having to negotiate a little bit. And the other interesting point was expired listings. And though it's a small number, still 13 listings. A year ago we only had 6. So there is some that are staying on the market and are actually not selling.
Right.
But 13 is at a
Insignificant.
that's
Right.
pretty insignificant amount.
Right.
So again, we think that the appreciation is going to continue. We think it's going to slow down from where it's been, which personally I think is a really good thing. Last few years we've been averaging 13, 14, 15% appreciation. That's really unsustainable. And so when it gets back under 10%, it's still a great investment,
Right.
but it's just not as rapid as it was. And again, I think that speaks to more of the stability of the market and the market forces taking shape.
So beyond statistics here, what's your gut feel for how kind of things are going in the market? Like this report statistically is for the end of February. We're now into March as we sit here. So like daylight savings time has kicked in. People are starting to look after work. What's your gut feel as you monitor like the showings and stuff? Are the showings really kicking up or?
They are kicking up.
Are they?
We actually took a little breather in February, I would say. And I would say that like over this weekend, we had over 250 showings. That's pretty extreme for mid-March.
Right.
Kind of what we have been seeing the last couple of years in this hot market. Just anecdotally, talked to 3 or 4 different agents that were talking about all the competing offers this weekend. They're in the lower price points
Right.
that are really under heavy demand, obviously now. A gentleman had a listing in Arvada for Westminster, for $250,000, got 9 offers.
Right offers, wow.
Yeah, and 45 showings.
Right.
In 3 days. So I think we're going to see more of the same again. I think it's going to slow it down a little bit appreciation wise. And again, I think that's good. And I think it's a real positive for the overall market.
Well, it seems like at our sales meetings and such, there's more coming on, more of the tour that we have each week. So picking up a little bit as far as something to look at.
Well, they keep saying that,
Right.
and yet we're still off about 7%
Right.
in the number of listings from a year ago. So we've got a ways to go, and hopefully that's true. Certainly we're seeing buyers go much further out from Boulder and outside of Boulder County. Thank goodness for Longmont, that really does have some new construction underway. But again, what I've seen, and I may be wrong, you're out on the street more than I, but what I've seen is those new builds are higher than their average sales price. And so we're just not getting the low-end homes or townhomes being built anymore.
Okay. One thing I wanted you to mention was I know Remax of Boulder has published a real estate report that we do every year, and I saw a few copies of those floating around town. Are some of those still available?
I believe we're out of the printed copy.
Okay.
However, it is available on our website,
Perfect.
which is www.boulderco, like bouldercolorado.com. Just scroll down and it's in the middle of that front page, and you can download it for yourself and look at it. I think it is very informative. And what I like about that report is that it's not just looking at Boulder County, it's breaking it down to smaller areas, because as you know, real estate really is
Quite local.
and sometimes hyper-local. But so that gives you a little bit more of a sense of how every area is doing.
Okay, thanks. And if you didn't get that report, do check it out online because there's a wealth of information. You'll look at that and you'll know everything DB knows, right? Not quite.
Probably more.
DB Wilson, thanks for being here today. Appreciate your wisdom.
Okay.
I'm excited about next month because next month we'll have the end of the first quarter stats.
We will.
We'll see how we did that first quarter.
Absolutely.
So, Duane Duggan, Remax Boulder Video Podcast, signing off.